What is up, RotoGrinders? Dean here. Dean 7904. If you want to get all technical, it is Wednesday. It's the day for humping. It's 2 hours. 2 hours of nonstop Mlb Dfs conversation. We're not even going to take a break for bathroom breaks. No bathroom breaks allowed. Taking y'all straight up the lock. It's myself, returning champion from yesterday's show. It's TJ's words. TJ, of course, the greatest or one of the greatest DFS players in all of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. TJ, how's things in your world? Are you sweating? Are you tilting the early slate? Myself, my lineups are already dead. They're more dead now that Bayo's getting his face punched in there for Boston.
I was feeling so good before that game started because I have 100% Bayo in 150 lineups. And so I was feeling so good about that when I was just seeing I had 0% Urias and the Ravens ready for NFL, and the Orioles were my third highest owned stack. I thought it was going to be a really good day, and then it just went. But two of my home run picks from this morning were Jose Siri and Justin Turner, so we got two of those.
Nice.
Missed out on who did I miss here? I missed on Soler, CJ Crone, and Austin Hayes. So got a few and some Spidey bombs ready for this evening slate. But yeah, close to a big morning, but it's probably going to end up just like a break-even morning.
Oh, I'm jealous of your break-even day. I'm gonna get the zeros across the board. I'm pretty certain. I haven't checked. I couldn't believe I had like one team cashing. I'm like, how is this even cashing? Like one of my guys homered, and I guess that was good enough. The scores have been pretty low throughout the day. At least that's what I saw. Unlike last night, where unless you were a pitcher, I think like half the starting pitchers got like 0 or negative, basically. What a disaster last night was. And then a bunch of other teams scored like 10 plus runs. Just, San Fran and Cincinnati, that game went absolutely ballistic. I think I already tilted that game in the first show. I'm not gonna go off on a rant on that one, but yeah, of course, Wilmer Flores, the guy that nobody saw in the lineup until like 2 minutes before lock. He's the guy that bangs out a couple homers. Of course, in Canasso Stand, the guy he's not in the starting lineup. Oh, we got to take him out. Quick, take him out. And then he comes in and bangs out a 3-run homer and pinch hits in the 5th inning or something like that. But you know what? It's MLB DFS. It's a brand new day. It's a new slate. We're all at 0, TJ. This is a fun one tonight. I feel like it's a fun one tonight. Pretty straight. Oh, I was gonna say I didn't mean to say straightforward. It's pretty balanced, right? As far as pitching options, I think I'm not fully settled as far as my pitchers. I like to sort of have the conversation. I have a lot of thoughts in my head in regards to this slate, but I like to sort of talk it through over the next hour and 15 minutes. We yield to crunch time at about 6:15 or so. Kevin Roth gonna be coming on. You get DerekCarty, CEO of the Bat and the Blitz, and of course Kirkwood, the problem child, the kid Yahoo. I think he smashed last night on Yahoo. He posted his lineup yesterday in the Discord channel, and he had, I believe he had, he's like a one lineup guy. I assume this was his one main lineup. Shout out to Kirkwood. He had Austin Riley, who had a couple homers and 7 RBI, and the Braves still lost. And I think he had Wilmer Flores as well, which was that was a nice start for him. And both those pitchers weren't terrible. And that's important too, because there are many, many terrible pitchers. So shout out to Kirkwood. I think he had a big night last night. We'll ask him later on when he comes on. Maybe he's lurking in chat as well. What's up, chat? Hey, hit that like button, not just for yourself, but for Spidey, because Spidey's got to be lurking, right? TJ, I assume is he available 7 days a week, 365?
Always, yeah. As long as I got that line open to him and I'm here, he's available too. So first one at 50 likes, second one at 100. We had 2 tough days in a row, but then after the hot streak, but then this morning already started going a little bit better. So we're ready to get it back going.
All right, people are trashing your Saskatoon, Canada. 35 people. No, sir. You know what it is? It's ignorant Americans, TJ. I think we're not worldly. All we know about is America. We don't know about the rest of the world. We don't know Saskatoon's got 300,000 strong. All right.
It's true. That's the kind of running joke for all of us outside of America is, although America makes fun of Canada all the time, it's all the rest of the world that's making fun of America all the time.
I'm going to tell you, this might sound. It's not that we make fun of Canada. It's that we don't think of you. We don't even acknowledge we don't even realize you exist.
No, it's like literally every sitcom has like their Canada episode. You know what I mean? Where they just like spend that time. Have you seen those like that 70s show episodes where they road trip up to Canada to get beer?
I haven't seen it. I can imagine. Yeah, you got Fez. I'm sure he had a. They're based out of Wisconsin, I believe, the 70s show, so it's not that far to Canada. But yeah, I'm sure there's the common tropes there, and we love Canada, America's top hat. But Michael wants to know, why are you besmirching the great USA? Do I have to start a USA chant for you, TJ? We're gonna turn you heel before this episode's over for sure. But all right, yeah, we love Canada. Canada's spectacular, and you're right. My few Canadian friends that I have, they do. It's the same sort of bit where like they do poke at me like, yeah, Americans don't know anything outside of America. I get that. That's also a running bit and a running gag that I'm sure are in sitcoms. Are they in Canadian sitcoms? Do you have sitcoms made? Are they in Canada? Have you guys hit those yet?
We do have some good sitcoms. Like I feel like we do TV shows better than we do movies, but still, that's definitely not. USA definitely is top when it comes to movies and TV outside of, I mean, in North America, at least. Obviously, that would be debatable wherever you go around the world, but here, obviously, of course.
Oh yeah, Schitt's Creek wasn't that was a Canadian TV show, was it not? Yeah, Eugene Levy, believe he was a part of one of the Canadian. What's SCTV? That was a Canadian thing. That was kind of your Saturday Night Live. Hey, let's get back on track as far as tonight's slate. For me, it's kind of a jumble mess as far as pitchers up top. I'm curious to get your thoughts. And as far as offenses, thankfully we don't deal with the Coors conundrum. That was during the day slate. I think there were some really good spots. I have 4 or 5 spots I really like. The Braves every single day. The Braves are the answer. They're just the answer. It's just how do we figure out getting the Braves in there? Thought we might get what was the guy's name? Like Forrest?
There you go. You know what? I just Googled, and according to movieweb.com, Schitt's Creek is the #1 Canadian TV show ranked of all time.
There you go. Yeah. I don't know what's 2.
Degrassi would be 2. Orphan Black, #3.
Orphan Black was pretty good. I didn't finish that, but I thought it was interesting when I watched it. Degrassi was the one with Drake, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was like, I think of a different time, but like kind of like the Saved by the Bell of its time, if I'm not mistaken. Is that fair to say?
Kim's Convenience is really good. It got annoying they didn't finish it, but Kim's Convenience is really good too. Trailer Park Boys was a Canadian show.
Yes. Yeah. And that's kind of sort of like a Jackass in a way. At least that's what I get from the trailers. I never watched it before. Is that fair to say? It's Jackass-esque or no?
No, not really.
Okay. Well, I got the wrong impression from the Well, maybe, should I watch it? Should I throw it in the queue?
I don't know. It's not my thing either.
I just know like the GIFs. Like I've seen like the guy with the face. I know like that's a weird description, but you know what I'm talking about, right? Oh, there you go. See.
For some reason, they always show up to like the Comic Cons and the Fan Expos. The Trailer Park Boys are big there.
There you go. You can't do that in television. I think that was Canadian many years ago. At least I assume it is because Alanis Morissette was on it. But that's just a guess. Just throwing it up. There it is. See, producer Steve knows who I'm talking about. Yeah, that's the guy with the face. I don't know how else to describe him. But all right, tonight's slate. Give me the rundown. 6 total for the Braves facing Ryan Nelson. Bullpen kind of beat up last night again for Arizona. Both sides of that game. 16-13, I believe, was our final score. We saw the Mets wake up facing Touki Toussaint, who's pretty terrible. Yeah, I think there's a lot of good offenses. There's a lot of good pitching options, but I think the slate's pretty wide open. But you should like your lineups. Much like I didn't love my lineups this afternoon, I feel like I'm going to like the lineups I land on. Lots of different routes. Have you honed in on anything? You did tell me pre-show that you're going to go 3 entries. I like it. A different conversation as opposed to running 150. Is that what we're sticking with? We're going with 3 lineups?
That's what I'm sticking with right now. I think so. I'm struggling with one right now is like one of my favorite teams today is going to be Cincinnati. And I feel like I'm basically done my lineups other than this last one I'm trying to figure out. And I'm torn between the lineup already has Peraza as a one-off and he's leading off. And I really wanted to get TJ Friedl on a team because I don't have him on a team right now. And so I'm sitting here wondering myself, do I do Friedl as a one-off or do I probably do the smart thing and pair Stanton with Peraza? But that's what my current dilemma right now.
That's a mini Yankee stack you're making, and did you mention your dominant team, or you didn't mention it? You didn't mention
the dominant team in that lineup would be this would be the one that actually wouldn't be a full stack anywhere. It would just be like a 3-3-3 type thing.
Yeah.
But then the other ones are each I have a 5-man stack of Atlanta, 5-man stack of Cincinnati, and then this third lineup would just be kind of mixing and matching of different things. Some Detroit, some Washington, some Atlanta, and maybe New York.
Yeah, I like the idea of. I mean, I think 3-3-2 is going to be kind of fun tonight because I do like 4 or 5 teams pretty well, or 4. I really like 4 teams, and then I have a little bit of a break, and then there's other teams I'm willing to consider. But it's going to be a good conversation. I'm curious to pick your brain. And as far as pitchers, I kind of feel the same way when it comes to the pitchers, where Luis Castillo, sure, I'll roster him. Verlander, I guess. Rodon, he's really cheap on Fanduel. He's pretty cheap on DK. He hasn't looked great yet, but they did stretch him out to 88 pitches or so his last start. So pitch count probably not a concern. I wish Erod was a little bit cheaper, but you got a little matchup there against Kansas City. Kenta Maeda, I never really trust Maeda, and he's old and he has those walk issues on occasion, but he's cheap. So sure. And then there's Charlie Morton and Yu Darvish. A lot of old pitchers, right, that you can consider. Yeah, Verlander is old. It's a lot of old guys, right? Verlander, Morton, Maeda. Maeda's probably not as old as I'm making him out to be, but Darvish is pretty old. Do you have a clear favorite amongst that group? I think those are all guys I'm willing to roster. Certainly I have a rank system, but it's pretty close also. I don't think I'm going out of my way to make sure I absolutely get these 2 pitchers. You know what I mean? I'm curious.
I got one of those guys that I feel really good about. Your mic's going a little wonky right now. You may want to just give it a little unplug, plug type of thing. But for me, that's Carlos Rodon. He's going to be the number 1 guy that I'm going to today up against the Angels. The Angels are run down. Obviously, Ohtani is awesome, but this isn't the same lefty smashing team that they were earlier in the year, or at least that we expected them to be this year. And so Rodon's going to be my number 1, 8,500 on DraftKings, just nice and cheap. Then I think I like for at least from a tournament perspective, don't get me wrong, in cash, Castillo projects fantastic, and he's the guy that I'd want to be going to. But in tournaments, I think I actually like going to a guy like Erod against Kansas City a little bit better, coming in much lower owned. I think he's got similar ceiling. Like to me, Morton, Castillo, Darvish, Maeda are all fine. Rodon is going to be my favorite. Rodriguez would be my next favorite spend up for tournaments, but I'm actually going to be playing a decent amount of. That's one of the reasons I want to get a Detroit stack, or at least a Detroit mini stack, into one of my 3 teams here, is because I'm actually going to be playing some Ryan Yarbrough as well.
Yeah, he's cheap. If you need, I don't know how much you need the salary, but I guess he's probably the best cheap option if you need like to scrape the barrel, if you want to say that. How do I sound? Do I sound better? Do I sound worse? About the same?
No, you're back to good now.
Okay, all right. I was messing with some stuff, and thank you for confirming. We're good to go on the fly. Rodon, the K's haven't been there this year. He's going to have too many homers as well, but it's just 10 innings, and we're not ready to freak out just yet. Just 18.8% as far as K's, but again, that's just 10 innings. Swinging strike rate suggests he's a little bit unlucky as far as strikeouts. A lot of fly balls, but this is the guy who was getting 35% strikeouts last season. Basically a career year, right? But I'm assuming he's basically kind of sort of there, just been unlucky as far as home runs, giving up almost 2 per 9. Just a lot of fly balls. So maybe Gibson no homer today. Hopefully that's not the case if you roster him. You didn't mention Castillo. Castillo not in the best form. But, the matchup against Minnesota, same one yesterday we saw Wu had. We all love Wu, different slate. And there was reasons why Wu was popping for a lot of people, just because there wasn't a lot of spectacular options. And Minnesota, they're pretty good against righties. Pretty good offense, actually. They're not terrible, but they will strike out a ton. They strike out the most, actually, as far as their active roster against righties. No lineup just yet. Kind of waiting on that. It is a late-night game, so we probably won't get that for another hour or so. Where do you have Castillo? And you said you're making 3 lineups. Is Castillo somebody that's I assume you're happy to get him. Maybe you're just not reaching out of your way if you save the salary for Acuna or something else. But
yeah, so he is he's the cash game guy. But he falls below in tournaments Rodon and Rodriguez for me.
Interesting. Let's just take a peek and take a look at our ownership stuff. This stuff is fluid. We still have 2 hours until lock. Let's see how this changes. Castillo on DK getting the biggest ownership according to our projections, 45%. A little bit uncomfortable. That's kind of a big number. He's probably, and that stuff gets pushed up. Like you're playing the 3-entry max. It's going to be higher than that in 3-entry max, almost definitely. Verlander at 32%, kind of uncomfortable with the way he's been pitching this year. Rodon at 30%, Charlie Morton 24%, Erod at 16%. I like that a good bit. Darvish at 10%, Maeda at 10%. Barrios is throwing baseballs. I don't mean to neglect him or ignore him. I think he's fine. But you don't really want to go out of your way to pick on San Diego too much. And you're not getting a big discount either. Anybody else worth note even mentioning? You mentioned Yarbrough, only getting 2%, which is kind of surprising. Just I don't know how much you can use that salary. He's 5'5", and he's the best of that bunch, right? Amongst Ashcraft, Stripling, if you want to throw Hendricks in that conversation, Silseth, maybe, but he's a little more expensive. Nelson, he's the best of that group. It sounds like that's your favorite cheapie on the slate.
Yeah, that's my favorite cheapie. That's the one I want to be going with. For what it's worth, like I'm playing 3 lineups, but I'm not differentiating as much as I normally would playing 3 lineups. Like I'm almost treating this as a single entry, but making a few adjustments on it. And so what I mean by that is like my pitcher combo right now is Rodon Yarbrough, Rodon Maeda. And so Rodon is my guy in tournaments. That's the stand that I'm taking. Yarbrough is going to be my favorite SP2 for tournaments. With Maeda as the next guy in there, and I'm just putting some Detroit guys on that Maeda team as kind of a pivot in case Yarbrough fails. But that's kind of the back and forth I'm looking with right now is like, do I want to go Maeda and a Detroit mini stack, or do I want to go down to Yarbrough and I can add a couple, and I can add it's basically Maeda, Torkelson, and Vierling. Or Yarbrough, Matt Olson, and Michael Harris. And so that's why it's tough. And it's because I already have Atlanta on both of my other teams. I'm kind of just thinking like, all right, maybe this will be my different pivot, but I haven't fully made a decision on that one yet. I'm kind of treating it as like a 3 different versions of a single entry, and each ones are like, this is like my favorite possible thing I can make. I'm not picking like 6 stacks and doing one of each type of thing like I typically would with a 3-entry max.
You're making one lineup you really like and then doing like 2v2, 3v3 pivots off that lineup a couple times. Is that fair? Basically what you're saying?
Sorry, my internet just went crazy there for a second and I lost you. We all froze. What was that?
You make one main lineup that you really like, and then you're making a couple like 2v2, like 3v3 pivots off that main lineup, and then you get the 3 lineups. Is that essentially what you're doing?
Very similar to that, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I've done that before too. Well, it's just like you're locked in, you like a certain thing, and that's that.
Yeah.
By the way, one extreme hitters umpire, the only extreme that we have on the slate, extreme hitters umpire for Trevor Williams. I don't think you're rostering Trevor Williams, and Kyle Hendricks. I'm probably not rostering either of those. More likely to be on a bat in that game. Weather-wise, I don't think anything was popping as far as weather edge. Precipitation should not be an issue either.
One thing that's popping is the people in the chat hitting that like button, and we've got 60 already, so we got enough for our first Spidey Bomb. Get it up to 100, and we got Spidey Bomb number 2. But our first one, you can find him for plus 400 over on FanDuel. It is Cody Bellinger.
I like that call. There you go. By the way, my computer is acting a little bit goofy, a little bit slow, so hopefully we're going to be able to power on through it. It won't be an issue for the show. But yeah, if I seem a little bit thrown off, that's just what I'm realizing. My pages are not popping up. Sam Fran just put Brandon Crawford on the IL, by the way. So I assume that's one reason why he was not playing yesterday, and that's also one reason why we probably have not got a lineup just yet. But we should be getting one shortly. What else are we waiting for as far as lineup? Sam Fran, of course, a big one. We talked about the late night games. No Seattle, no Minnesota. I assume J-Rod will be back today, yesterday after the off day, or they gave him a rest day. No Kansas City just yet. No Washington. And I think we're waiting for Sam Fran, which, again, usually when they tell you somebody's going to be in the IL, that's kind of when the lineup will be dropping. I was digging through as far as Cincinnati. Best I can tell, just one lefty in that bullpen. Young, I think his name was Alex Young. He's pitched in back-to-back games in 3 of the last 4. TJ, I'm not saying he's not going to pitch tonight, but I think it increases the chance. It makes it less likely that he's going to be pitching tonight. Maybe an extreme circumstance. He faced 4 batters yesterday, and I think he went an inning in a third. Pretty clean. But just thinking about, San Fran and pinch hitting, that kind of nonsense. And it feels like I feel a little better about it. And I always, just as a general rule, you feel better about San Fran when they're facing a righty from the jump as opposed to a lefty from the jump. A lefty from the jump, you're just asking for trouble because you just know that some guys like Peterson and Conforto are going to pop up. Yaz as well if they're not starting. Also, Wade got hurt yesterday too. He left the game. So I'm curious if he's going to crack the lineup here for San Fran. So maybe that's part of it. Maybe they're working him out. Could be some reason. Still, an hour and 45 minutes until start time. So no reason to panic just yet. But lineup should be coming in soon for San Francisco. All right. Chat, by the way, ask your questions. Join the conversation. This show is yours. This is a free-flowing conversation until we yield to crunch time. Crunch time is much more structured. We're just kind of freewheeling it all over the place, TJ. We kind of jump around. We focus on the pitchers first, then we get the stacks, and then whatever's on chat's mind. If you have any questions regarding, you're dealing with a 2v2, let us know. Is it for Fanduel? Is it for DraftKings? Is it for cash? Is it for tournaments? Is it a single entry tournament? Is it a large field tournament? Fire off your questions. We're happy to answer those. We want it to be, it's boring if it's just the two of us talking for an hour and 15 minutes, TJ. You don't want to deal with just me. You want to bring the chat in for sure.
Yeah, that would be awful. I don't want that at all.
Also, you basically hit the quota. Like you had an hour and 15 minutes of me yesterday. We've had enough. Well, I don't want to speak for you, but
there's a reason I'm going to be on 2 crunch time shows tomorrow as opposed to GrindersLive. I've had enough.
There you go. Oh, are you doing the Barbie Oppenheimer thing? I know we discussed this off air. Are you knocking them both out on Friday? Is that the plan?
So here's where it's tough is I have the full day off from RG on Friday. I got an expert survey in the morning and then nothing else. So I actually could make it happen. But my wife is going to be out of town and that'd be something we'd be doing together. And so both are on my list. Like the first reviews are coming out for both. We got reviews up for both on agentsofandom.com. The embargo for Oppenheimer just lifted about 3 hours ago. And so they're just now starting to be able to, or 4 hours ago, just now starting to be able to write full reviews. And like people are calling it the best Nolan movie ever, one of the best movies in the last decade, one of the most important and will be one of the most important and talked about movies of the next multiple generations. Barbie came out with a 95 or a 93 on Rotten Tomatoes and is getting so much Oscar buzz right off the bat. And people are saying it's hilarious, but also so much more heartfelt than they were expecting. So I want to make both happen. I don't know if I'm going to do the both in one day thing though. Yeah. I mean, probably with your wife. I think that's a good call. You probably don't want to do that without her. And by the way, speaking of your wife, you mentioned on the previous show earlier today, you were listening in, and you subjected to her listening to me and Blender talk. Like, how did that go? Because were you having a fight? And they're like, okay, I'll show you. Like, she doesn't. It was just honestly, I happened to wake up early enough. It was 9:30 my time, and so I was like, oh. I'll make a couple teams here, put something in. And then I asked her, I was like, is it all right with you if I listen to a show? Or are you going back to bed? Or are you up? And she was like, no, I'm up. It's all good. And so I was listening. And then you guys literally spent just 8 minutes talking about me. And it was a pretty funny time for the two of us. She was like, what are they doing? Is the show about you? No, not exactly. All right. But there were some questions that were asking about, Andrew wants to know about the Morton and Erod ownership on DraftKings. Let's see. I think we got, you know what? I have the bat ownership projections up for some reason. I wonder if that was distinctly different or not. I got it here. So it's Erod is projecting for 17% ownership on DraftKings and Morton is projecting for 22.5%. So very similar. Let's see. Red Scale's asking about Ashcraft. Has Ashcraft gotten lucky over the last 3 starts? I go against him and he's annoying.
I don't know specifically for the last 3 starts. Can you answer that question as far as Ashcraft being lucky or unlucky? I mean, on the season, like, he's been pretty bad. He's been a little bit unlucky, I suppose. You look at the Sierra as opposed to his ERA. But his BABIP's been unlucky at 315. The left on base is not great, 67%, so he's not stranding enough guys. Homer and the fly ball is probably about where it should be, considering he pitches in Cincinnati, about 16%. But doesn't give up a lot of fly balls for what it's worth. He's a big ground ball guy. That's his one skill. He keeps the ball on the ground. If you're looking for an argument against playing the Giants, but would you say that Ashcraft's been unlucky or if he's been unlucky of late? Have you dug into his last 3 starts specifically? I have not.
No, I think maybe he has been lucky, not unlucky. He's been kind of pitching over his head recently, if I'm not mistaken. But I can't remember who it was. I remember somebody on one of the shows talking about it, that he had a few skills that were looking up, whether it was velocity, something else. I don't quite remember, but he's not somebody I'm considering on this slate.
Derek says Big Do in KC. What does that mean? What's Big Do in KC? I'm trying to figure out what that means. Do you know what that means? Am I missing something? What's Big Do in KC?
Dew point? Big dew point?
Oh, that's got to be a big dew point. Yeah, well, we have a chief mineralogist, Kevin Roth, and we have Kirkwood, who's is a dew point model. I think it's still in beta. But there you go, Kirkwood. He hears dew point and he pops up in chat. So yeah, I didn't realize that's what was going on there in Kansas City. Do we have a fire emoji? Hey, we got a fire emoji in LA. We never get that for the Angels. That's interesting. It's 91 degrees in Los Angeles. Wow, that's kind of surprising. Does that mean that there's a marine layer lurking out there? Because I don't know how do we get the marine layer? I know Boggs Light is the marine layer expert. 91 degrees, dead center, 9 mile per hour as far as the winds, and the dew point at 62. In 56 previous games, we've seen an increase in homers at 3%, not a ton. We've seen an increase in runs at 15.6%. Cincy in San Fran is just pretty neutral. 383 similar games with similar weather. It's a huge sample size. Slight hit at homers, slight hit at runs, but nothing outrageous. The Mets, it's cooled off a little bit, just 77 for the Mets. It was hotter in previous days. It was hotter yesterday. The Cubs, we have a crosswind at 8 miles per hour. Let's see. 8 miles per hour, 77 degrees, 66. 60 is the dew point. By the way, you can get this a part of premium if you're not aware. Chief meteorologist Kevin Roth, his weather edge tool, amongst all the many things. We don't have time to run down everything you get with RotoGrinders Premium. Just one thing that you get lets you if you want to bet size and totals. I know some people use it for that reason. I think this is important. Weather means a lot more than the average person may think. And when there's outliers, you're supposed to pounce for sure. Are we excited about the big dew in Kansas City?
I'm always excited about a big dew. It's rare that a big dew won't get me fired up, but I don't know. Like I don't love hearing that it's great hitting weather, in Kansas City and in for the Angels, just because I'm planning on playing Rodon and I'm planning on playing Ryan Yarbrough in both of those games. But if you look through it, like it's not like there's really any bad hitting weather today. It's at least 70 or wind is blowing out pretty much everywhere, and so I'm not overly worried about it.
I just realized I knew this earlier today and I forgot. Yeah, that Angels game, it's starting at 7:07 on the East Coast, so 4:07 local time. I think there's a thing where, like, historically the ballpark plays better during the day, but I'm not sure how it plays at 4:07. Seems like a strange start time. Why would they start the game at 4:07?
I mean, it's only a 56 game sample size, but it seems wild that 91 degrees with a 62 dew point, 10 mile an hour winds blowing straight out to center. You'd think that would end up leaving. You'd think that would be more than a 3% increase in home runs.
Yeah, I don't know. And I'm not really sure if the marine layer is more prevalent during the day or the night. I think it's more of a day thing. Maybe it's a Kevin Roth question. Did the Spidey bombs hit yesterday? Really wants me to ask you about Roswell. Are you aware of Roswell and what Area 51 Do they teach Canadians American history like this?
Yeah, they do, but I don't think the Area 51 kind of history.
Oh.
We know all about 1812, though.
All about what?
1812.
There you go. Yeah, Roswell. I think it's just like it's a tourist trap. I think I haven't been. Might have driven through or something like that, but haven't spent any time. I've only driven through Arizona. Did the Spidey bombs hit yesterday? Well, we mentioned earlier today.
Spidey bombs didn't hit yesterday. They didn't hit the day before. I think I went 4 for 5 the day before that, though. And then today, this morning, they were starting to do a little bit better again. So we are how many likes away from our next one? 9 likes away. So let's keep smashing that like button. And I got a second one for you. We can get a third one at 150 likes.
Shannon says, I've looked at the Yankees bats, but good Lord, they are horrible. I don't think I can do it. They're pretty cheap if you want to go that route. Peraza, Torres, Stanton, LeMahieu's been pretty terrible this year. Volpe. LeMahieu is a cleanup hitter. That seems kind of weird. Cordero, Bader, Higashioka, and Oswaldo Cabrera. It's not great, but yeah, they're fine, I guess. But they're not my top 4 teams offensively, but I'm okay playing a little Yankee mini stack. And yeah, bad job by me.
It's because they're super cheap. Yeah, it's really just because they're super cheap, and it's like, oh, I don't. Volpe batting 5th, LeMahieu is sub 3K batting cleanup. Peraza's batting 1st. It's like, oh, fine, I'll go to these guys if I have to.
I think they're better against lefties as far as power. I'm just checking the
second base also just sucks today, so getting a lead off Peraza isn't bad.
But let me ask you this: he's going to be really popular. Do you feel okay? Is that where you want to be as far as good chalk, bad chalk? Right? Is Peraza good chalk?
He's 3K, so I don't really think it matters all that much.
Yeah, I'm trying to think others like Ozzy Albies certainly anybody can beat him, of course. And
I have 2 Albies and 1 Peraza in my 3 lineups.
Yeah, I'm looking at the ownership on Fanduel because I think we got Flores projected to be 25% owned. He is second base, first base, and third base eligible. Peraza, shortstop, second and third. We got him at 22%. Yeah, and he's 2-3. He's a good uber punt. Christopher Morel is second base eligible on Fanduel. Good power there against Williams.
I'm debating trying a lineup here without Rodon and only putting him on 2 and 3 because of that weather. And then looking at that, it makes Eduardo Escobar at second base for 2,700 on DK batting 5th kind of interesting.
Is he another guy that if a righty comes in, he gets the hook? I feel like he's hook prevalent.
I doubt it because he's a switch hitter.
Am I thinking of somebody else? Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else.
Eduardo Escobar for the Angels?
Yeah, I don't know why I was thinking somebody else, but maybe never mind. Just throw that out. I have not checked the bat to see what his pinch hit risk may or may not be. Just as a thought, though, he's batting 5th is fine, but that also, man, what a rough LA lineup. Neto is leading off once again. There's Ohtani, Ward, Moniak, Escobar, Renfroe, Rengifo, Stefanik, and then Wallach. Yeah, I goofed. I know Roswell's. I got everything wrong, by the way. Roswell's not in Arizona. It's New Mexico. My bad. And I mentioned Area 51. That, of course, is in it's in Nevada. I don't think it's is it in Las Vegas? Because the baseball team was called the 51s, right? Like the AAA Dodgers affiliate, I want to say, or AA, whatever it was. So this is not my area of expertise, and I was kind of around it, but everything was wrong in regards to that conversation. Let's see. Best Yankee bat on DraftKings as a one-off, Paul wants to know. It's probably Stanton, right? The best one-off, probably Stanton, yeah?
On the Yankees?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One-off somebody in New York?
Honestly, no. I honestly think it's Peraza because second base is so bad and outfield is so good. So I think I like Peraza or Volpe better.
Yeah. Yeah, we still don't have a San Fran lineup, right? I really want to know what the San Fran lineup's going to look like, but maybe it's coming in soon. Let me know if that pops up. We got the Nationals. Do we care about the Nationals? Sure, I guess we'll acknowledge their existence.
I just want to make sure Abrams is one. So
he's leading off. Thomas is 2, Candelario, Meneses, Ruiz, Smith, Dickerson, Garcia, and Call. Is Abrams somebody that's you're looking at as a one-off type play?
Yeah, I have him in 2 of my 3 lineups. I like Abrams a lot. He is probably my favorite shortstop on the slate.
Is this a good stolen base matchup against Hendricks? I don't know off the top of my head how. I feel like Hendricks is somebody you can steal on, and not that it matters a ton with Abrams. Like he's just going to go if he wants to go, basically. But I'm curious how vulnerable Hendricks is to the stolen base, and I'm just saying words now to buy some time as I pull it up. Let's see.
I really like my first 2 teams that I built, and I've really had a tough time finalizing what I want to do on this third one. And so I want the chat help me out here. Where we just got enough likes for the Spidey bomb, but I'm going to let you help me build my my third lineup here. So
let's do it.
Tell me what teams I should be targeting. I'm not playing that high dollar today, so that's why I don't really mind being like, all right, my third lineup, chat, let's do it. But Spidey bomb number 2. Today, same odds as Bellinger, plus 400 over at Fanduel. Might even be a little more. It might be like plus 420. Plus 420. Luis Robert going up against Verlander. 420 to hit a home run. He is Spidey bomb number 2.
Yeah, I don't mind that either. Verlander, I'm on the roster. I'm also willing to pick on him for a couple power bats for sure. By the way, I did check and confirm. My instinct was correct on Hendricks. He is vulnerable to the stolen base this season. In just 58 innings pitched, he's allowed 10 stolen bases. That's too many. Last year, 9 in 84 innings, 9 the previous year. Yeah, he's not great at holding on runners. And if Abrams is on, pretty good chance he gets going. So I do like that. I don't know if I'm going to play a full Washington stack.
I like a 1-3-5 stack with Washington.
Did you skip over Thomas?
I did. He's not in it. I just... It's like I said, outfield, there's so many great plays that I want to play, but Abrams, Candelario, and Ruiz, I do like that.
Yeah, and historically, Hendricks is more vulnerable to lefties than he is to righties, so I get it. But sure, I'm not going to – we're not playing enough lineups, the two of us. I'm not playing enough where I'm going to take a stand and saying, my night's going to live and die on a Washington stack. But if you want to do it as like a 2 or 3 man, sure. No issues with that. John's got a question, by the way. Oh,
I went from having just like so much, like having Rodon on 3 teams, feeling so confident about it, to seeing that weather and seriously debating if I want to go an Angel stack for my third team as opposed to playing Rodon in it and just doing an actual full Angel stack.
Never go full Angels, man. It's I mean, okay, how much? What's a full? You're talking about 4 or 5 Angels? Like, who are the guys?
So I'm looking at the idea right now of doing something like maybe not full, but go like Neto, Ohtani, Escobar. And then if I go double cheap at pitchers, I can actually play them with Olsen, Riley, and Acuna, as well as I have to do this. I love this team. I got to do it. Who's a 2.2K catcher I should punt with? I guess I got Perez, Camposano, or Barnhart. Ugh, I don't like any of those options.
So yeah, you could use the sliders. You get the RotoGrinders lineups page. I use this all the time, and the same sort of like thought process. It's like, oh, I only have so much left. I move the slider to 2.2K. I click on catcher, and like you said, the options are going to be terrible, right? Camposano versus Barrios. Okay, not good.
Not great. No.
Is that we got Carlos Perez versus Verlander? That's worse, I think. Who was the third? Barnhart in the 9-hole. Yeah, that's not great. I mean, you're basically giving up that position, but you never know. But yeah, you're kind of
I have found myself an interesting little team here, and it is in fact a 5-man Angel stack now with 3 Braves, and I'm thinking I am gonna keep it.
I hope. For the sake of your team.
That 3, like I told you, I was going like basically like a 3-3-3 on that team. It has switched to a full 5-3 stack.
Yeah, I love that you've already pulled the 180 in the show. You went from Rodon to a full Angel stack. I love it. I'm curious. We're going to be in a half hour before
what it's worth.
Yeah. So you're just hoping for one of the outliers to hit, either Rodon to like be amazing or Rodon to get his face fully punched in. Yeah, some questions in the chat do want to hit up. Let's see. Let me jump back. John was asking on DK Olsen. Oh, wait, before I get to this, you said the 3-man Brave stack. For your sake, I'm hoping that 3-man Brave stack is 3 of Acuna, Olsen, Riley, and Albies. I hope it's 3 of those.
It sure is.
Okay, good. Yeah, all right. I'm thinking about, like, you have to have some big power bats in that Atlanta side. Okay. John's asking on DK, Olsen and Escobar or Albies and Betts? Betts? No, Belt. Olsen, Escobar, Albies, and Belt. I think I would take the Olsen and
Escobar or Albies and Belt. I would go Olsen and Escobar, I think.
Yeah, that's a side I would take as well. There's no correlation or anything there, but yeah. Steve is saying Barnhart's got a pretty good arm. Well, I don't think how many fantasy points you get for throwing somebody out at second base. I believe it's 0, unfortunately. But yeah, good for him. Maybe that's one of the reasons why he sticks around the league, I suppose. Andrew's asking about Darvish and Maeda sub 20%. Yeah, they're going to be sub 20%, right? I think. Certainly Darvish is, I believe. Let's go ahead and give a refresh. Let's see if he got a
I think he's somewhat interesting for tournaments too.
Let's see. Let's see. This is the Plate IQ projections. This is as of 5:05, so a new batch will be coming in. But yeah, Castillo still leading the pack here, 44%. Verlander 28, Rodon 28, Morton 23. Yeah, Maeda's 15, Erod 17, Darvish 11. Your thoughts on Darvish? Just, he's sort of fine, but I just don't think I need him. I don't see a ceiling game coming.
I cut this before I decided I was only playing 3 lineups. I did cut down a player pool to kind of figure out who I'd be going with if I was running more. And he is one of the 7 pitchers that would be in my pool.
Yeah, but is he the 7th guy?
He would be the last guy of the 7.
Yeah, yeah. He's my 7th guy too. I have Castillo, Erod, Verlander, Rodon, Morton, Maeda, and then Darvish, and then But you said you still have a Yarborough. So which of those that I just mentioned is not in your top 7, or is Yarborough not your top 7? You're just playing him because of salary.
Rodriguez, Castillo, Morton, Rodon, Darvish, Maeda, Yarborough.
I didn't hear Verlander, did I?
No Verlander.
Okay. Would you consider playing? You talked about Robert. You mentioned him as a Spidey bomb. How about a little mini Chicago stack against him?
Yeah, I don't really like the full stack, but I am all good with the mini stack going with something like Luis Robert alongside Yasmani Grandal is batting 5th today and he's sub 3K. I think that's reasonable. Jake Berger batting cleanup would be my favorite guy to go there with. So I think a mini stack is totally viable.
We got the Royals lineup. I'll give you that. And the Giants also dropped. The Royals, Garcia, Witt, Melendez. Oh, Sal Perez is back today. That's good. Good for my season-long team. Garcia, Witt, Melendez, Perez.
CJ Cron just hit a home run. Yes! That's 3 of my 5 from this morning have now hit.
You got a parlay with the 3 right names on it?
Yeah, I got a parlay with them. And so I missed out on Hayes and Soler, but I hit Jose Siri, CJ Cron, Justin Turner. And so I got Schwarber, Olsen, and one of the Spidey and our 3rd Spidey bomb parlayed with them as well for a little extra. But I do have them in combos of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
You got that round robin parlay action. That's a lot of fun when you actually hit 4 of 6 or something like that, or 4.
Yeah, that happened the other night. That was I had 2 days in a row where the Spidey bombs went 80% or 70% plus. And so that helped fund things a little bit, especially when, I quit teaching and my wife's a teacher and they don't get paid over the summer. So this is some high stakes gambling right now.
But this determines if we're eating dinner tonight. So I guess we're eating dinner, I suppose. The margins aren't that thin. I assume that you can sustain a rough month or 2 and be okay.
Yeah, it's definitely not whether or not we eat dinner, but it's how often we're going out for dinner or ordering in as opposed to cooking.
Fair enough. Kansas City, it's Garcia, Witt, Melendez, Perez, Duffy, Massey, Waters, Isbell, and Blanco, the Giants. Let's see. We got Peterson, Yastrzemski, Flores is still in there, Conforto, Matos, Sable, VR, Wisely, and Schmidt. Is there something different about that? Peterson's in there, Yaz is in there, Conforto's in there. I think, no Crawford. Schmidt's playing shortstop. That's who it is. Okay, I was trying to figure out what's going on there. They're asking what's wrong with my mic. Is my mic doing goofy stuff again? If it is,
it's now back. It was going wonky for a few minutes, and it's now back to being normal.
I don't know what's going on here, but we're gonna power on through, I suppose. But my apologies. Hopefully, it's not terribly distracting. Let's see. Halo's been raking. Yeah, I mean they broke out. Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't love them, but sure, I suppose. Especially playing large field stuff. I'm playing small enough contests where I'm just not going to play a bunch of Angels. A couple here and there, sure. Andrew wants to know, as a mini stack for the Angels, how do you feel about Wallach, Escobar, and Neto? No Ohtani, just those three. Are you okay with that?
They're just all wildly cheap. So if that's helping you to either double pay up at pitcher or get a Brave stack, then I'm good with it.
Brian sharing his favorite stacks on the slate: the Angels, the Braves, the Reds, the Blue Jays. We haven't really acknowledged the Blue Jays today facing Yu Darvish. Like they're kind of lost on this slate, They're there.
Yeah.
As somebody that's not playing a ton of lineups, I'm probably not going to play a ton of Blue Jays. If they break out tonight, I'm probably going to be in trouble. I don't really want to roster Darvish. I don't really want to pick on Darvish, right? Somebody's going to homer probably for Toronto, but I don't think they put up like a 12 spot. If they do, on to tomorrow. Who's Taylor Callway? Taylor Callway is playing baseball tonight for the San Diego Padres. Are you aware of this person's existence? And do they have a salary?
I do not know who that is.
I assume that they are a prospect. I don't think I'm aware of this person. Can you do a little Google search on Taylor Callway if you don't mind? My computer is acting goofy, and I cannot get to him for some reason. It's just really slow, unfortunately. We're powering through. My mic is having an off day. My computer is rattled, but we still have 25 minutes till we hand off to crunch time. You all get DerekCarty. You get Kirkwood, Chris Kirkwood, Kirkdiese, and his dew point model. We'll be bringing that for sure. And Chief Mineralogist Kevin Roth will tell you what's going on weather-wise. Anything out there is worth monitoring. You got anything on this person playing baseball for San Diego this evening?
28 years old.
Oh.
He was a 21st round pick of the Padres 7 years ago. And this year in AAA, he's been hitting .261 with an .814 OPS. So that's pretty good. 10
but
stolen
he's playing
bases.
against a bunch of 20-year-olds, right? But yeah,
10 stolen bases, 9 home runs. So he's not very good. He's old. He's not very good.
But this is always a good story. Is he making his MLB debut? That looks like it, right? Yeah, he's making his MLB debut and living a dream at 28. So good for him for making it to the show. Yeah, it looks like it is his first game ever in the majors, but not a prospect. Is he in the player pool? Is the second question. Does it matter? I don't think.
No, I'm honestly not really planning on playing any Padres or Blue Jays today.
Yeah, but just in case anybody out there was thinking about it. Well, actually, yeah, usually on the lineups page, if like your name is invisible, it's kind of there, but you have to like find it. It's because you don't have an actual salary, and that's I was staring at the San Diego lineup. I'm like, who's batting eighth for San Diego? We did get a Minnesota lineup as well. Correa leading off. They haven't been doing that, right? That's new mostly. I feel like that may have happened earlier in the year, but that has not happened a ton. Correa leading off, Julien, Kirilov, Kepler, Matt Wallner, Castro, Farmer, Gallo, and Jeffers. Do like seeing Gallo in there for Castillo, but I'm trying to see how good that lineup is for strikeouts. I think Wallner's a strikeout guy, if I'm not mistaken. How do you feel about that Minnesota lineup?
Like I'm not planning on playing any Minnesota today, going up against Castillo at all, but like it's Minnesota, you know what I mean? Like it's pretty they got Wallner in there, they got Castro, and so it's maybe not quite as strong as usual, but it doesn't really change anything for me. Castillo is still the best cash game play and somebody that I would be underweight on in tournaments.
Yeah, I was mostly asking, not that you can't play Minnesota. And also, did I not say Buxton? Buxton's not in there. Yeah, okay. I knew somebody was missing. Like, yeah, somebody's not in that lineup. It's Buxton. No Buxton for Minnesota. And yeah, Wallner projects to be, according to the bats, striking out in the majors at 32.7% of the time. That's a lot. That's a big projection. Last year in 65 plate appearances in the majors, he struck out 38% of the time. This year in 29 plate appearances, 20% of the time. So you like seeing him in there if you're rostering Luis Castillo. He's got a little bit of power, but lots of whiff. He has 70 raw power according to Fangraphs, by the way. That's a big boy number. Hasn't really had I guess in, let's see, 2022 he had 21 homers in AA and 6 homers in AAA in about 550. He's got some power. And this year he has got 11 homers in 305 plate appearances in AAA. Just one so far in the majors, but I like seeing him in there if I'm playing some Castillo. Give me the summary as far as pitchers. We'll talk about some stacks, whatever else the chat wants to talk about before we turn it over to crunch time.
Yeah, so pitchers, my top pitcher in tournaments today is going to be Carlos Rodon. My top tier of spend-ups is Rodon, Castillo, Erod. Those would be the 3 guys I'd be looking to get to the most. But I'm also really going to prioritize the cheap guys today. So Kenta Maeda and Ryan Yarbrough, I think, is a phenomenal tournament play. And then an 8K Darvish and 9-1 Charlie Morton. Those are going to be the last 2 guys in my list, but they do make the list as well. So they're outside the top 5, but they make the player pool for if I was going to be running a few more lineups.
By the way, TJ, I think Context Clues is telling me Alex's wife is a teacher. Says his wife gets 3 checks on June 15th. Yeah, I think I know some people that are teachers.
Where I live, it's just like we get only it's a 9-month or it's a 10-month contract, and so there's just like absolutely nothing in July and August.
Yeah. Okay. You could. Is it an option to like spread it out and like get less over 12 months, or that's not even an option?
You could sort that out with your bank, but that's not an option with like your employer.
Brian wants to know your top 3 pitchers specific to FanDuel tournaments. I just think it's worth noting how cheap Rodon is on FanDuel. We talked about the weather's not perfect there with the Angels. We're still not afraid of them, but Rodon's distinctly cheaper than everybody else. Well, Maeda's right there too. Rodon 7.5, Maeda 7.2. And then you have Castillo at 10.5, Erod at 10.6, Morton 10.3, Verlander 9.5. Your top 3 pitchers on FanDuel are who in tournaments?
So on FanDuel for me today, I think it'll be Rodon number 1 at that 7.5 price tag. Like he would be my number 1 by a large margin. He'd be my cash game play as well at that price. I think I would probably go Maeda number 2 and Erod number 3.
Joey says, I think y'all are sleeping on Ashcraft tonight. He's really cheap. I guess it's a leverage play because San Fran's going to be pretty popular. But again, his skill is ground balls. His last 3 starts, he's gotten 10 ground ball outs. Good for him. But he's still not great. He's not going to pile up a bunch of strikeouts. He could survive the slate, sure, and like the Giants could be like not necessary. But what's the scenario where Ashcraft is somebody like you like really want to roster tonight? I don't think that's happening.
I don't think it's all that high. I'll take that nap. I'm all good with sleeping on him.
Yeah, but I hear you. Sure, but play wherever you want. Mr. Richards got a question for you. Now you got to put on your MME hat here, TJ. We're both playing like single entry, 3 entry max stuff. We're not making 150 lineups. Mr. Richard, he's baller. He's going to play 120 lineups on DK. What are good low-owned mini stacks to play with the chalkier stacks, the Braves, the Mets, and the Giants? Yeah, I like the Mets a good bit. We haven't really talked about the Mets. And somebody said, Big Meat Pete, Alonso's $12 on Yahoo. Kirkwood's coming on later. He's Kid Yahoo. Something tells me he's probably going to have Alonso in his main lineup. $12 seems really, really good over there if you know their pricing system. Yeah, so your favorites low-owned mini stacks to play with Braves, Mets, and Giants are who?
So in terms of a low-owned mini stack, I like Washington quite a bit today, going with some CJ Abrams will really be the only one picking up ownership, I think. So adding in a little Candelario and Ruiz there. I don't know if you've noticed this, Dean, but I have put on my MME hat, and so that's what that noise that was.
I did.
While I really like Yarborough, I also really like Detroit as a mini stack, specifically Spencer Torkelson, Jake Rogers, and Matt Vierling. Those would be the three that I'd be looking to play with my mini stack. Those righties in the top 5 of the order. Chicago is the Cubs as a mini stack that I like. Bellinger, of course, is a Spidey bomb. Mixing him in with some Ian Happ and some Mike Tauchman, something like that, I like quite a bit as well.
Morel, little Morel.
Will Morel, of course. There's nothing wrong with playing a little bit Morel, and then I don't know if it counts. I guess yeah, they are going to be really low owned, and this is a team that I love as a full stack, but I might as well add them in there for a mini stack as well. It's the Reds. I love the Reds.
Yeah, not sure how popular they're going to be, but I was a little bit surprised how, at least unpopular in our conversation yesterday, but the Reds are, to me, every single day, pretty interesting. Stripling is not somebody I'm afraid of, like that ballpark as well. Somebody was asking, I'm not sure if there was a troll question or not, if there's any BBP plays that's doing anything for you tonight. And just for fun, I pulled up some BBP stuff, and we do have a huge sample. This is going to get you excited. How many times do you think Elvis Andrus has faced Justin Verlander in his career?
I don't know, but Elvis Andrus also used to be a heck of a lot better.
So Verlander did too. I'm not here. Both these guys used to be a lot better.
That's a great point. Yeah, no, that's a great point.
They're both in the back nine.
Each other. Let's go with 46.
They faced each other 77 times.
Wow, that's a lot of time.
Yeah, I think the biggest one I ever saw was like Ichiro faced somebody like 105 times. It must have been somebody in the AL West. I can't remember who it was, but the largest sample size was like Ichiro versus somebody. I can't remember who it was. But yeah, for what it's worth, Elvis has 23 hits. You're not going to be surprised. 20 singles among those 23 hits in those 77 bats. 3 doubles, and that's it. Like, there's no power in that bat. Springer has a BBP against Darvish. We don't have Chop on this show, but he might give it the stamp of approval. 3 homers and 22 at-bats and 9 hits for those that care about BBP. Even Eduardo Escobar has 6 hits versus Rodon and 21 at-bats. That's the most. I say even, but that's the next one. There's really nobody else.
Somebody brought up the Blue Jays, and we kind of like dismissed them a little bit. Yeah. But I do want to bring up that like the best possible situation, even though like obviously you'd like someone who's a little bit worse than Darvish, but the best possible situation for the Blue Jays is a reverse splits righty, and that's exactly what Darvish is. He gets hit harder by righties, he strikes out less righties, his ISO is higher, and the Blue Jays have a bunch of reverse splits righty hitters, basically all of them outside of Bo Bichette and like Springer, Bichette, and Chapman are pretty either equal to or a little bit better to the left, but like Vladdy is way better to the right side of the plate, and Jansen is better to the right side of the plate, and all these guys and all these other guys are great hitters as well. So this is the best type of situation to play the Blue Jays.
By the way, to your point, your boy in chat did the Spidey Bombs hit yesterday. Apparently on 365, bet 365, I should say. You can get Bichette at plus 1025 the homer.
That's phenomenal.
That's a great number. That's a fabulous number. Just against anybody, I would take Bichette at plus. You're getting a little more than 10 to 1 on him.
On the site I use, the odds are great. He's plus 810. But like that's still 10-20. He's had like broken odds all season. He's been a phenomenal home run play. Very, very often. Like if you go to what we project him for at Scores and Odds, he's plus 4.6. He's plus 456. We have him hit a home run. He's plus 520 on FanDuel. So like yeah, that's a pretty great play. The one I was considering on my site is that Vlad Guerrero is plus 540, but I already had my bets in and I stuck to my limit. I didn't want to add in more, so I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, Bichette at plus 675 on Caesars, but over 10 to 1 seems like an outrageous number. By all means, whatever you can get on that, you're just playing that number, and that number is too good.
That number assumes that he'd hit like 16 home runs in a season
if he's playing every single day.
Yeah, and he'll probably get like close to 30.
What are your bets today? Do you think it's worth sharing for the people? Or have they kind of expired? Are they still worth throwing out there to the people? Is it anything as far as prize picks? Or I guess you're using your whatever.
I'm using playnow.com. It's a website here in Saskatchewan. It's nice because even when you lose it's basically just like paying your taxes. All the money stays in province. And so
I built that park.
Yeah, exactly. The ones I have for tonight I do still have Olsen, Schwarber, and the third Spidey Bomb parlayed with my Justin Turner, CJ Crone, Jose Siri ones that hit earlier today. And then my evening ones are Schwarber, Luis Robert, of course, a Spidey Bomb, Cody Bellinger, of course, a Spidey Bomb, Matt Olson, Matt Vierling, I got for plus 810. So I went with him today. And then the last one on my side I got for plus 680. And let's see what he is. You can get him for plus 600 on FanDuel, so he's a great bet there as well. So we need about 25 more people to hit the like button so I can get my third Spidey Bomb out.
I'm trying to see our it's so funny, like Carty does this as well. Roth always asks Carty to like the best like player to homer as far as the odds. Like it's not likely for them to do it, but based on the number, according to our scores and odds stuff, the best bet, it's ridiculous. Michael Massey, we're saying he's got a 669 plus 669 chance, almost like a 6 to 7 to 1 chance, and you can get him at 14 to 1 on FanDuel. That's not bad. He's got a little bit of pop.
I was gonna say I think the best one is Jake McCarthy. He's plus 1500 on Caesars, and he's leading off today for Arizona.
Yes, he's 10 to 1 on FanDuel. You want to price shop. If you go to Scores and Odds, the props page, you can sort of price shop, and we stress that all the time. It's the margins are thin. By all means, get the edge when you can get it. There's no reason to bet McCarthy at 10 to 1 when you can get him at 15 to 1 on Caesars. Like nothing makes me. It always amuses me when people are on Twitter and they're adding FanDuel or adding DraftKings. I'm never going to use you again. I'm going to go to DraftKings now. It's like you should be playing on every single one of these sites.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
You're. It's hilarious that like I'm going to take away my edge. That's how I'm going to show you. It's like, well,
there are some great ones though today. Like McCarthy's plus 1500, Bogarts you can get plus 900 at Caesars. Oswald Peraza leading off for the Yankees, you can get him for plus 870 on FanDuel. Sorry. I really like Heimer Candelario plus 520. I really like obviously that Bo Bichette one that was brought up earlier. Michael Conforto plus 600 at Caesars. That is absolutely fantastic. And so there's some other really great ones, but none of them do I like as much as like Shohei Ohtani's plus 390 on FanDuel today. Shohei Ohtani should never ever be plus 390.
It's left on left, but yeah, it's
his ISO against lefties this year is what, like 350. And in a super limited sample, Rodon's actually been worse to lefties this season, and so like his 359 is Ohtani's ISO against lefties this year in 110 at bats. So he's still just as good against them. Ohtani should never see a number 3 unless it's plus 230 in his betting odds to hit a home run. And so like that is one of the most broken ones of the day is plus 390. So love that one as well. But I just need now 13 more people to hit that like button for our third Spidey.
It's coming. By the way, I think we found producer Steve's. He's multi-accounting here. He says, Parabay, Mets are trash. Play Alvarez, move on. And I'm a Mets fan. Wait, is he mockingly saying play Alvarez, or is he saying just play Alvarez and that's that? Because I like the Mets too. That kind of leads into the conversation as far as stacks. We've kind of talked about it throughout the show, but the consensus value rankings when it comes to our stacks, number 1, not terribly surprising, is Atlanta. Number 2 is – wait, did I goof and hit the wrong thing? I think you know what?
Maybe.
I have to change. I somehow did not have Atlanta ranked. I'm checking my FanDuel rankings. I messed up there and put Houston by accident. Bad job by me. I'll have to change that after the show.
TJ on his burner account. Mets.
What happened?
TJ on his burner account. Mets suck, but we love Steve. Dean, I'm with you though. That guy said just play Alvarez. The Mets suck. And I said, I'm a Mets fan too. But I said, we put up 11 runs yesterday against a guy who's better than the guy pitching today. So I'm with you. I kind of like them today.
Toussaint is kind of fraudulent too in a small sample. He's been really, really lucky. He's got a 3.38 ERA with a 5.31 Sierra. His homer on the fly ball is 0.38. His BABIP is 237. Been very, very lucky. And again, his samples are small, but like whenever Toussaint typically like an innings eater, like if a team's getting blown out, that kind of thing. He's like a 6-starter or a 7-starter. But Steve, you were getting pulled up there for a second. I was curious. What happened with Frank the Tank? Is he getting kicked out of the Mets Stadium? What have I seen? Can you give me an update? Is he causing a ruckus? What's the story there with Frank?
He's causing a ruckus. He's causing a ruckus. I don't know. I don't even actually follow him. I think he's kind of embarrassing as a fan, but he got a warning. I think he got a warning that if he does something again, he could get banned.
Okay. I don't know what he did. I just saw like people were saying he might.
He was like freaking out and yelling at the game. I don't know.
Well, that's what that's his whole shtick, right? That's his whole bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So stack-wise, Atlanta, number 1, no surprise. Then San Fran and the Mets. No. I'm just doing my rankings for some reason, but that's close. It's Atlanta, Cincinnati, San Fran, the Mets, then the Cubs, then Detroit, then the Yankees, and the Padres. For me, it's like the top 4, and then there's a break. Atlanta, Cincinnati, San Fran, the Mets, and then I have a break there. You tell me. How do you feel as far as stacks? I know we kind of talked about it throughout the show, but people are kind of sprinkling on in as we lead into crunch time. Your favorite stacks, anything that we're neglecting, anything that's too high, anything that's too low as far as that board?
I'm going to go Atlanta 1, Cincinnati 2, San Fran 3, the Chicago Cubs number 4. And then my 5, I think, would be Washington, actually.
I never really know how to answer this kind of question, and maybe you have a way to answer, because I don't think this is like something that has to be answered. I think you decide what you like and then sort of figure it out from there, and that kind of happens organically. Flying Armbar is asking, what's the best way to stack for today on FanDuel? 3-3-2, 4-2-2, 2-2-2-2? Like, I think that's the wrong question to ask.
Yeah, there's never an answer for that question. It's specifically dependent on what teams you're doing and your specific lineup. Like there's never a specific day that it's like 4-2 is better than 4-4 today. It's like if there's some one-offs you like, great, but it's not really dependent on the number. It's the players.
J-Rod is back, by the way. Crawford, J-Rod, Kelnick, Suarez, Mike Ford in the 5 hole, Hernandez, France, Murphy, and Wong. So that's no big dumper, no Kyle Raleigh. Steve says Tukey been shoving. Yeah, I mean, in a small sample, he's been okay, but I know the Mets have been disappointing this season, but I'm on the side of the Mets as opposed to Tukey Toussaint, especially like second time around. I don't know how much they're going to let him go. Yeah, John says 4-4 maximizes correlation, and it does, yes. And especially on FanDuel where correlation is rewarded even more as far as what their scoring system is. But it's like, yeah, it's a tricky thing. And if there's like one amazing stack that I love, and like I love this team and I'm going to kind of rotate them through, so then maybe I go like 4-2-2, but I have a 4 at all times. But like generally speaking, I don't really have a setup like this is what I got to do. I got to have a 4-4, and that's that.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Other people attack in different ways.
Unless I'm doing a hand build in a single entry small field where I maybe end up with like a 3-3 something. If I'm using lineup HQ, or my plan always 100% of the time is to have at least one team with 4 players on FanDuel.
Derek's got a 3 versus 3 question. DK tournaments. We have let's see, 1 pitcher on each side. So Charlie Morton with Peraza and Higashioka. So it's a Yankee, little mini Yankee stack. Peraza, Higashioka, and Morton versus Darvish and a mini Mets stack, McNeil and Alvarez. So 2 Mets and 2 Yankees. Morton with the 2 Yankees, Peraza. You got it?
Morton with the Yankees.
Alex says he's playing Tukey on Yahoo, but that's he's $15, which I didn't know pitchers got that cheap on Yahoo. I'll be honest. Maybe he sees they have a reliever or something like that. He's cheaper than all the rest of the guys. I thought the floor was like 20, but I don't play much on Yahoo for what it's worth. Robbie is predicting what your the Spidey Bomb is. Spidey Bomb number 3. You've not yet unleashed it, but if you get enough likes, we'll throw it out there. His
We
speculation.
have gotten enough likes. We are up over 150. And so Spidey Bomb number 3, you can get him for plus 600 on FanDuel. I believe Robbie's guess was Marcelo Zuna. Or what was it?
Tauchman for the Cubbies.
Tauchman? No, it's not Tauchman either. I saw somebody else guessing Ozuna. It is Jake Fraley for the Cincinnati Reds, plus 600. Going to hit his 3rd home run 3 days in a row.
All right. Flying Armbar, I want inexpensive or chalky bat, a fade tonight. Man, I'm probably not going to have a ton of Arizona. They went nuts last night, and I don't think I'm going to get the Carroll. I'm not talking anybody off it, but yeah, go ahead.
The current highest owned bat that we're projecting on DraftKings right now is Francisco Lindor. And so that would be one that I would be significantly. Brandon Nimmo, 20%, Lindor, 25%, Flores, 22%, Sabal, close to 20. Those are all players I'd be significantly underweight on.
King of Smack said he won 7th place in the 55 on FanDuel, played a 3-3-2. Yeah, like you don't have to do that. And like, again, understand like the general rules and understand how you can kind of manipulate them. But like, I don't think you absolutely must play 4-4. But surely there are some people out there successful, I'm sure, that say, I'm just going to run 4-4s and 5-3s. And that's just how I do it. And they're running their 150s. Eric wants to know, tell me about the Tigers. Tell them about the Tigers. They're playing baseball tonight.
I like Yarbrough against them, but I also really like the Tigers as a mini stack. I think I saw somebody, it might have been Derek in chat, saying, who was that mini stack you like for the Tigers? Again, it's 1-3-5. It's Matt Vierling, Spencer Torkelson, Jake Rogers, those righties up against Yarbrough. If you want to mix in Green or Carpenter and those lefties, that is totally A-okay. I just really, really like the outfield today, so it probably would not be Riley Green, and it would only be Kerry Carpenter if I needed to save that salary.
All right. Okay, so Tukey just saw by the way $26, and yeah, the $15 contest, that was $15 as far as the price. That's what threw me off. Eric is saying the RG lineups page and Plate IQ have different Reds lineups. Am I crazy? I don't know. That's not something I've noticed. Do we have 2 different lineups here as far as the Reds when it comes to Plate IQ and the lineups page? Plate IQ
probably just has to refresh Plate IQ because it won't do it on its own. It like if you've had the tab open for a while, it won't update unless you actually hit that refresh button.
How do you feel about well, wait a second. You know what it is?
We don't have Encarnacion Strand in Plate IQ.
I don't know why that is. Maybe because he's a new player and new to the pool, but sometimes it goes from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and skips 7. But Encarnacion Strand, it should be in there in the 7th spot. Not sure why he's not in there. But by the way, he's worth playing. Shout out to him for getting his first Major League homer yesterday. Are the Giants coming in lower owned than they should be? I think they're getting proper ownership, right? Aren't the Giants getting properly owned? Am I wrong? I feel like they're reasonably popular tonight.
Yeah, I think they're like Flores is going to be the 3rd highest owned player on the slate, and so I think this whole team is likely going to be picking up some ownership.
Is that kind of a chase? Historically, he's better versus lefties.
Flores, Sabal, Jock Peterson, Mike Yastrzemski, Conforto, all of them are 14% or over projected ownership on DraftKings.
Yeah. Is it because Flores has multi-position eligibility? I know he's cheap, but why is he getting such a big number? He's in a good lineup spot, whatever.
When he's also hit 3 home runs in the last 2 days and people like that.
Yeah, I know. But does the ownership stuff really take that into account?
Can we go over how wonky yesterday was for a second? I know the crunch time guys are about to pop in. And so
tilting.
It was so messed up how did you see how many people in a row double-donged yesterday? There were 7 people who hit their 2nd home run of the day in a 15-minute span yesterday. It was nuts. It was so stupid.
Let's see. Well, I know. Let's see. Flores hit his 2nd homer, and around the same time, I think Riley hit his 2nd homer. I don't know who else did. I'm sure I missed somebody.
I'm gonna switch it right now. It's not like this is that important stuff. So it was mind blowing to me when I saw it all happening. I was getting the all the notifications from the MLB home run thing, and it was kind of happening all at once. And then I'm getting there right now. So in the span of 30 minutes, it went Austin Riley, Francisco Alvarez, Spencer Torkelson, Christian Walker. Those 4 players in a row hitting their second home run. Then Donovan mixed one in the middle between Flores and Josh Naylor, both hitting their second home run. And there was a couple other people who did it throughout the night too. Like, it was just so wonky. It was all happening at once.
Shout out to Dave yesterday. Cheese is good. He mentioned it in the show, like they were coming up to lock, and he was talking about what a great edge the Wilmer Flores play. It's not even results based. He was talking about it before, even the game started, but he was not in any projected lineup. He was not expected to play. So anybody that had their projections, had their lineups out there, you didn't have any Wilmer Flores. And it's like, he was like, oh, I got to get to some Flores now. This is the guy you want to get to because he's going to be the one giant that's not going to be terribly popular. And of course, how things work, he went out there and banged a couple homers. And you know who else was sharp enough to play some Wilmer Flores? Kirkwood, Kirkdiese. I saw you drop your lineup there in the Discord channel. You had Austin Riley and you had Wilmer Flores. Did that hold up? Did you win some American dollars on Yahoo yesterday?
Yeah, I had a good slate. I won a lot of American dollars. Even Domingo Germán was great in all things considered, even though he gave up 5 runs because he had 9 Ks. Pitching was just horrendous last night.
Half of the pitchers got 0
too. If you got a pitcher who got over negative points, you were thrilled.
You got some juggalo bombs for the people today, Kirkwood?
They'll come to me during the show. We'll have a few, I'm sure.
Yeah, and also I know you're prepared for this, but 4:00 start out there in LA. And I'm curious if Roth has a thought in that as well. High dew point apparently out there in Los Angeles, local time 4:07, I believe. You want to get all technical, and maybe is that a marine layer thing, or is that a night thing, or is a marine layer hit like in the 6th inning? Do we have thoughts on this? Do we know about this? Because we are getting a fire emoji here, Roth, in Los Angeles, which is kind of rare.
Yeah, I mean, it's warm. It's going to be over 90 degrees. Winds are blowing out to center. Dew point is decent in the low 60s. I don't think that has anything to do with the marine layer because that typically moves in kind of later at night. But that's good. We don't want the marine layer. So this is excellent hitting weather in LA.
Marine layer is bad for hitting?
Yes, the marine layer is bad for hitting.
Okay.
Come on, Dean.
I always hear people talk about it.
This
isn't my area of expertise. I don't want to step on your model.
It's 2.101 right there in my model. Come on.
Well, I mean, it's still in beta, so I'm not sure if you figured out exactly the kinks, and you're still kind of working on it. It's been year 7, year 8, year 9.
A lot of red tape out there.
A lot of red. Well, Roth is trying to block.
I'm blocking it. Yeah.
Trying to keep his monopoly. He's paying off the right people.
He can't sleep at night. I know that. That's for sure.
We have Carty as well. TJ, anything before we step aside and make way for crunch time? Anything of notes, or shall we just should we yield the floor for crunch time?
Well, let's yield. I got a golf lineup I got to make in the next 7 hours.
Look at you, golf expert. All right, good luck with that.
No, I'm gonna just look exactly what Noto tells me to do. I'm no golf expert.
I'll fire off some lineups. Sure, why not? It's a major. That was TJ. I was Dean. Do it that like button as we transition to the Fanduel sponsor crunch time. You got DerekCarty, CEO of the Bat and the Blitz. You have Kirkwood, CEO of the Dew Point model that's coming, give or take 2030, more or less. If Roth has his druthers, 2040. And it's Kevin Roth. Kevin Roth, take it away.
Good stuff, as always. Welcome to it, ladies and gents. This is indeed Crunch Time. This show is sponsored by Fanduel. Big shout out to our sponsor, and big shout out to 2 of the sharpest minds in the biz. We got Carty, the creator, the inventor, the CFO of the BatX Enterprises. What up, Carty?
Not much. How's it going?
Pretty good. Kind of a quieter weather day, which I feel like I haven't been able to say that a lot over the past
I'm sure
month
you're happy about that.
Yeah, it's been pretty nice, honestly. So I am thrilled with that. We'll give you a little weather update here shortly. And then we got Kirkwood as well. He's the CEO of the Juggalo Bombs. What up, Kirkwood? How are you?
Doing very well. How about you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I just was kind of looking at the weather overall. There's maybe a chance of a late start in Kansas City, and that's pretty much it. And we don't really care about a late start because the game should play fine regardless. So bottom line is that the weather, to me, not really a big story here, at least as far as delays go. So that puts things right back in your guys' boat, talking some content. Kirkwood, you want to give me an overview of this slate?
Sure. Overview. So we do have some pretty decent pitching tonight. We've got, we're 8-game slate here. Now, yesterday was just a really like a shot of water in the face that we are in the midst of full summer now, right? Like this is the hot and humid weather where these games just pop off. Like, and everyone was like, I was in the bat chat and the RG Discord, and everyone was like, I made so many mistakes on pitcher tonight. I'm like, you didn't make mistakes. This is just what happens in the sun. Like, every pitcher throws bad games. Every pitcher, it just happens to all of them. So it was a good reminder. But we have the top end. We've got Luis Castillo, who's been a little bit shaky here, but I think he's still fine. Everything looks solid.
Don't dive too deep here. Yeah, don't go. This is still the
sorry.
overview. This is the zoom out. Yeah,
sorry.
Right,
so we got high
pitchers
up top. We do have some pitchers on the bottom if we really need them, and the only reason we would need them is because what's the answer to every slate? It's always the Braves,
Ohtani.
right? Like the Braves. I know. Ohtani's number two. Ohtani's number two. So there's a lot of ways to go tonight. It should be a fun slate.
Okay, very good. Well, with that, I think we should just kind of jump right into it. And Carty, you are a cash game pro. The bat certainly can give you the best projected plays each and every night. So why don't we start there with what your thoughts are here for pitchers, both FanDuel and DK.
Yep. So I guess we kind of have like, I don't know, 3 tiers of pitchers. I guess we can break them up as tonight. The top tier is Justin Verlander and Luis Castillo. Castillo is going to be more popular of the two. He's against this Minnesota team that strikes out a ton, and he's having a really good season, whereas Verlander's been struggling. The bat season is pretty comparable. So I think you play Castillo in your cash games, but I like Verlander quite a bit as an expensive guy in GPPs. I think, honestly, on DK, where you're playing 2 pitchers, I think you can roll out both of them fairly easily. On FanDuel, if you want to save the extra 1,000 and go down to Verlander from Castillo, I mean, the bat actually kind of likes Verlander a little more. I think personally, I'd rather play Castillo. I think Verlander's stuff is worse this year, and I don't know if the bat's fully capturing that yet.
Mm-hmm.
But he's in a really good spot too. The White Sox are taking a big park downgrade, below average offense. And so I'm cool with both of those guys. And then kind of a step below them, we have Carlos Rodon and Charlie Morton. I don't think either one will be as popular as Castillo or Verlander will. Maybe Rodon on FanDuel, where he's 7.5K. Now, he's still not fully built up yet, so it's not like you're going to see Rodon go out and throw, a complete game or anything like that. But he's built up enough where, for that price with his talent level, even though the weather is tough there, this is still a spot where his talent at that price is just severely, severely underpriced. So I like Rodon a lot, especially on FanDuel at that price, but on DraftKings too, in tournaments. And Charlie Morton, I think, is also fine. Outside of those 4, I think you're probably not going to see a whole lot of ownership on other guys. You'll see some on Eduardo Rodriguez, who is kind of like the best of the rest. And then after that, it's a whole lot of sameness. So you can just mix and match, do whatever you want to be different if you want to go beyond those top 5. If I'm doing that, it's more on DraftKings than on FanDuel, and I'm just going to live on the cheaper end with a guy like Ross Stripling or even like Kyle Hendricks, I think is fine. Graham Ashcraft, I guess, has a little upside, but you're looking at pretty gross stuff. So if you just want to keep a condensed pool, just use those top 5 guys. I'm cool with that too.
Okay, and Carty, can I get your thoughts on Maeda? I'm looking at the FanDuel price here. He's 7.2 on FanDuel. He's got a whole bunch of little tags. What's your interest level there?
I prefer Rodon for 300 more, but I think Maeda is certainly in your GPP pool on FanDuel.
Very good. All right, Kirkwood, I want to hear what your thoughts are here. How are we going to win a GPP? What's the game plan at pitcher?
Okay, so I think Carty nailed it. He's got pitching down tonight. I think Rodon is my favorite play for GPP tonight. I think this is their full, he's just had a couple of tune-ups. He's ready to rock. He threw 88 pitches in his last outing in Coors. So he's cheap on FanDuel for sure. He's cheap, but you can get to him easily on DraftKings. He's just a little bit under Verlander. Definitely more savings on the FanDuel side, but I love him on DraftKings. This is the Angels he's up against. Without Trout, obviously, he's a lefty, gets the lefty-lefty matchup with Shohei, which is Shohei strikes out a lot more against lefties. And then the lineup is not very intimidating at all. There's about 3 really high strikeout bats besides for the rest of the roster there. So I like him a lot. On DraftKings, it gets dicey. So like I said, the answer is always the Braves, but you literally cannot play the Braves tonight unless you kind of go dumpster diving with an SP2. So you can take whoever you want at SP1. You can do Rodon to save some. I like Darvish, actually. It's just a bet on talent thing. Darvish is like his own worst enemy. It's never like the matchup. It's just him, whether he's locating or not. When he's on, he's absolutely on. He was on in his last start, and I'm buying him here. He's only 8K on DraftKings, so I like using him. But to go down to try to get someone to play with one of these guys, Rodon or Darvish, to get the Braves, I don't know, man. It's rough. So it's Ryan Yarbrough, and the only thing to say that's positive about him is that he's facing the Tigers. That's it. That's all I can really say. There's Ross Stripling, who doesn't have much of a pitch count, doesn't go very deep. They have been stretching him out. He's also playing in Cincinnati. That's another tough matchup. And then there's Graham Ashcraft on the other side of that game. It's like you just need someone. So I actually have Yarbrough because of the easier matchup, and I'm just rolling the dice with my Brave stack. That's one of my lineups. And then the other one, I'm using Rodon and Darvish to get a little different.
Okay, very good. I feel like we've got a good grasp of what's going on here. Kirkwood, if you could maybe turn down the volume and or plug out and your mic, plug it back in for me real quick. Let's talk about some of the stacks, Carty, and I will let you lead in. And in the meantime, we should note this show is sponsored by FanDuel. Sign up for the FanDuel Sportsbook. What are you doing? If you're in a legal sports betting state, take advantage of their awesome bonus offer. New customers bet $5, you get 100 bones in bonus bets. Terms and conditions do apply for that. Carty, I feel like pitcher is maybe spread out enough that we can kind of do whatever we want stacks. Is that accurate? There seem to be.
Yeah, it's the kind of night where, especially on DraftKings, the bat is not projecting anyone to be like overly high owned. And so you don't have to get weird. You can kind of just play like, the best stacks. Kirkwood mentioned that the Braves are the best stack tonight, which is true. They're against Ryan Nelson. But they are very expensive. And so if you want to stack the Braves, you probably need to do something weird with your SP2. Play a guy like, Stripling or Maeda or something like that. So I think they're good. On FanDuel, I think they're a little bit more attainable, but you can certainly go down and play something more affordable, something like the Blue Jays or the Giants are going to be popular tonight because they're in a great spot and they're really cheap. I think the Chicago Cubs are a really good way to save money on DK tonight. And then the Yankees and the Nationals are also really good salary savers.
Very nice. Kirkwood, you got some teams here that you are focused in on stacking?
Yeah. How's this for sound?
Fixed it. Excellent.
Any better? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was the question?
Just stacks.
Stacks?
Yeah, what's your game plan here as far as who you most want to stack and how you're getting different from the Braves, maybe?
Yeah, so it's my second favorite stack is the Cubs tonight. They're facing Trevor Williams, who gives up bombs. This is a guy we always attack. And we saw yesterday with some nice little hot weather and humidity and a bullpen like the Nationals have, runs can come in bunches there. So I like the lineup. I like the fact that they run a lot. I like the fact that, they've got some power bats in there. So I like pretty much all 1 through 6, even if you really need a punt play to use Trey Mancini. He's batting 8th, but he's really cheap at first base. I think there's home run upside there. Other than that, I kind of like the Yankees tonight, but man, they've been so bad. But gotta martingale this thing and get them once they hit.
All right, that's fair. Let's go position by position. walk people through it. And then, of course, we're going to take your questions as well. Just so you know, we've really been putting in a lot of effort on the RG Discord. So make sure you're hanging out with us in the RG Discord. We're going to drop the link in the chat. Hopefully. I won't, but someone hopefully will. So make sure you're joining us over there on RG. You get your experts from RotoGrinders basically hanging out all day long, trying to help you out while you build your lineups. So, Kirkwood, let's talk about the plan here, and we'll start with some catcher.
All right, on catcher, I'm going to start off over on DraftKings. I think that you want the most bang for your buck play would be Francisco Alvarez against Tuki Toussaint, 3,600, batting sixth, monster home run power. Other than that, there's you can go, Salvador Perez, I should mention, is back tonight in the lineup for the Royals, batting cleanup. He's only 4,100. How's he going to look and feel in his first game back? I don't know, but gets the platoon. And even though Erod's been really good, this is a guy with monster home run power. Sean Murphy, if you can get to him. Jake Rogers is grading out pretty well against Ryan Yarbrough for Detroit. He's got a home run upside. And then if I really want to go cheap, there's a few options here. There's Luis Campusano for San Diego. He's not my favorite. If I can get up to Gabriel Moreno, I like him just because I think he's got a little bit more talent and hitting environment. I know Morton is a tough matchup, but their bullpen gets rocked too, and it's hot and humid in Atlanta, and that park just plays really well. So 2,400, that's my guy if I'm trying to go cheap. Those are the options.
Okay, Carty, I saw you nodding along when Kirkwood said the best bang for your buck, dude. Who do you like?
Yeah, that's Francisco Alvarez. I think he's your cash guy on DraftKings. Keibert Ruiz isn't too far behind him. 100 less if you want to use him instead. Like that's fine. Sean Murphy definitely in your Brave stacks, but he's super expensive. I like the Campusano thing. I don't think I'd play him in cash. I don't think that's necessary. But kind of like the Braves, the Padres are one of the best stacks tonight, but they're expensive. Campusano is a way to kind of make your stack a little bit less expensive if you're doing Padres. So I think he's interesting in that regard.
Okay, how about first base, Carty?
Matt Olson's your top guy, definitely in your Brave stacks. Probably too expensive to get up to in cash. For that, on FanDuel, I think you're probably playing Vlad. He's against Darvish. It's not the best matchup in the world, but he's 3.5. He's Vlad, and that's more than enough for me. So I like him quite a bit. I think Pete Alonso, right around the same price point against Tuki Toussaint, is definitely in play. And then we have certified lefty masher, Wilmer Flores, who is multi-position eligible, first, third on DraftKings, first, second, third on FanDuel. He's going to be an awesome play regardless of where you want to play him. I think if you're not spending up for one of the big boys at first, though, like he's the guy you go down to. There's nobody else cheaper that I think is better. I think if you really want to save money, though, David Villar, or VR probably, David VR for San Francisco, hitting seventh tonight in Cincinnati for the bare min. I think you're fine doing that if you really need to.
Okay. Andrew says Joey Votto. Is that a play at first? I have no idea where the hell Joey Votto plays.
He plays first. He's really expensive. He's fine. I don't like him as much as, Pete Alonso's 300 more. I'd much rather just play Pete Alonso or, Spencer Torkelson is cheaper. And I don't know. Votto's not great. And the thing about Votto is that this year they've actually shown a willingness to pinch hit for him, which is not awesome. It's not something that's ever really happened in his career before because he's Joey Votto.
Sure.
But they have been doing it a little bit this year, which again isn't awesome.
Okay, very good. Kirkwood, what are your thoughts at first?
Yeah, I'm just going to say I have a hard time paying $4,600 for anyone older than Head Chopper. I'm just going to say that. But Matt Olson is the guy. Big Meat Pete, to a little bit of savings there. He's the one Mets bat that I would play anywhere tonight against Tuki. Spencer Torkelson's been coming alive lately. He's got home run power. There's Vlad, Spencer Steer, but pretty much. And the one I'll just reiterate, the cheap guy said Trey Mancini down, kind of hiding down in the bottom of the order for 2,300 against Williams. And Williams is a righty, so I think the less to worry about pinch hit risk in this. I think they're just going for the home run here.
Yeah. All right. How about second base, Kirkwood?
All right, second base. Okay, we've got some cheap options that make things work. Obviously, the top end is Ozzie Albies if you can get there. I like Christopher Morel a lot at 4,300. Brings a little steal and power upside. Oswald Peraza is the Yankee prospect that's been up. Then he's batting leadoff, and he should be good. So he provides the savings if you need it. I think other than that, Nico Horner, Ha-Seong Kim, Ketel Marte. That's about it. Oh, Gleyber Torres. Gleyber Torres, got to mention.
Okay.
Yeah.
Carty, your thoughts at first? Second? Second?
Yeah, I mean, second is predictably not great. Albies certainly in your Brave stacks, Gleyber in your Yankee stacks. But in terms of stuff to save money with, Oswald Perez on DK is your guy. On FanDuel, you have certified lefty masher Wilmer Flores in there against a righty tonight, but you can still definitely play him in Cincinnati. Second base, I mean, it's tough saying what his best position is. It's probably second base tonight. But you can also just as easily save more money and go down. I mentioned David VR on DraftKings at first, but on FanDuel, he's second base, third base eligible. So he's probably your best really cheap option on FanDuel. And that's pretty much second base.
All right. How about third base?
Once again, top option is an Atlanta Brave. It's Austin Riley. You can definitely get there on FanDuel at 3.4K. On DK at 5,100. Again, doable, but not necessary, especially because we do have Wilmer Flores and we have Oswald Perez, who we've mentioned at other positions, both eligible at third on DraftKings. Flores 3-1, Perez 3K. And once again, David VR 2K, all available at third base. So I think they're all really good ways to save money if you're not spending up on Riley. I think Matt Chapman and Manny Machado are both really good GPP plays, either in stacks or on their own, both against like decent-ish pitchers. So I think their ownership's going to be low. But third base is really not deep tonight, and their talent and power more than makes up for the matchup issues. Yeah, that's I think that's pretty much it.
Okay, Kirkwood, what are you doing at third? I think you're muted because we were making you fix mics. And...
You are correct.
Oh, yeah.
God, amateur hour. I would like to get 2 home runs from Austin Riley on back-to-back nights. That would be nice. But he's the priority for me if you can get to him. Christopher Morel is third base option. Also, Peraza is as well. Peraza's the cheap punt kind of that we need tonight that you can use. I don't really want to play Encarnacion Strand. Maybe Heimer Candelario, a soft tosser in Hendricks there. I think there's home run upside there for sure. Third base is actually pretty gross tonight. Maybe JD Davis. Yeah.
Okay. All right. How about shortstop? Anything you like there?
I like CJ Abrams on the cheap end at 3,200. Had a rough game. He put the ball in play each time last night, but he had a rough game. Didn't fall for any hits. But if he gets on, he's a good bet to steal for you. So he brings upside. He's got a little bit of pop. Not too much there. Francisco Lindor is in a good spot. I think Volpe batting 5th is probably the best value play in the game environment over there against Silseth and that Angels bullpen, which can unravel in a heartbeat. Yankees have been tough. Bobby Witt, obviously, can always play. And then nobody is going to be on Bo Bichette tonight at 5,600. And, he's got monster power, so they should be.
Sure. All right. Carty, what are you doing at shortstop?
I love the Bo Bichette thing. I think the Jays are one of the best and potentially sneakiest stacks tonight. So I like Bo Bichette a lot. I think in cash, you're not obviously getting all the way up to him. I like Lindor or Witt if I'm spending up a little bit. if I'm saving money, it's CJ Abrams hitting leadoff for Washington against Hendricks. Like Kirkwood said, Anthony Volpe is also totally fine tonight. But I think it's probably Lindor or Witt for me in cash, unless I am saving money. On DK, that would be with Abrams. On FanDuel, I think it would be Oswald Perez. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Matt McClain as a GPP one-off.
All right, we are getting a bunch of questions, a bunch of names in the YouTube chat. I will circle back. We'll get to those. Let's finish up going position by position. We'll get some home run picks. Then we'll get into the questions. Carty, why don't you take us into the outfield, sir?
Once again, Ronald Acuna is easily the best outfielder on the slate. It's just a matter of whether you can pay up for him. On DK, he's 6.5K. And I think the answer is yes. You find a way to do it in cash because he's so good. The matchup is so good. I don't see any reason not to. I like the San Diego guys quite a bit, but they're expensive, kind of like the Braves guys. But Tatis and Soto are awesome plays, especially on FanDuel. Soto is always a little underpriced. 3.7 for him is really, really good. We've talked about the Yankees quite a bit, but Giancarlo Stanton in the outfield is 3K on FanDuel, and so he's one of the best plays on the slate. We have the San Francisco guys tonight. Jock Peterson in particular, I think, is the best of these guys on both sites. 4.4 on DK, 3K on FanDuel. But Yastrzemski at 2.9 on FanDuel, I think is pretty good too. And I think some of these cheaper Cubs bats are definitely a good way to save some money. So like Ian Happ at 2.9K on FanDuel or 3.4 on DraftKings. You have Cody Bellinger in the mid-range on DraftKings. You have Seiya Suzuki for only 3.3 on DraftKings. So I think that's kind of the way I'd be looking at outfield tonight.
All right, Kirkwood, what are your plans in the outfield?
Yep, Carty stole my Juggalo bomb number one, Ian Happ for 3,400 on DraftKings tonight. I like everyone that he said. I mean, he nailed it. Obviously, Acuna's the top. They're all the same to me, like Jock Peterson, Conforto, and Yastrzemski. Jock probably has the most home run power of the three. Conforto's right there. That picture's wild, huh? Can you believe my old days? Me in the old days? Yeah, it's crazy. But I love all the Cubs too. I think they're all have home run upside. Let's see what else I'm playing here. I'm playing Stanton. He's gotten very close a couple of times recently. His exit velocity, all the StatCast recent numbers look pretty good to me. So I like that game environment. So I'll be on Stanton tonight. Corbin, he's 5,800 on DraftKings. He's a Yahoo play. He's super cheap over there for people that play Yahoo. I think that's pretty good. Jake McCarthy, we should mention, is leading off too for 2,800.
All right. I might be lagging a little. Let me know if it gets unbearable. I think I'm all right. Let's do some home run picks here. We got a Juggalo bomb. That's good. Carty, I want some home run picks from you, and then maybe another Juggalo bomb or not. Kirkwood, I'm not putting you on the spot. Carty, what do you got for us?
Yep. So home runs tonight. The guy that's most likely to hit a home run is, no surprise, Giancarlo Stanton, because he's got massive power and he's really good. If you're looking for someone who's maybe a little more off the radar, I think Matt Chapman is going to be a good option tonight. If you are doing the betting thing and we're looking at odds, Xander Bogaerts plus 1225 tonight over at Bet365 looks like our best option.
Okay. Kirkwood, you got any other picks for me?
I do. This is just a DFS Juggalo bomb. I don't know if the odds are, but Eddie Rosario down in the bottom of the Braves lineup, I like for a home run tonight. And then, you get this. Wilmer is not just a lefty. Wilmer is mashing lefties, righties, everything. I think he hit 2 off of a righty yesterday, if I'm correct. But I don't remember. I just played him. That's all I remember. But I like him again today. I'm going right. I mean, I have to keep riding this guy.
Yeah. All right. That works. Let's take some QQs. We still have damn near 20 minutes until lock. God help us. So any questions you have, it can be about baseball. It can be about life. It can be about food. pop them in the chat. We're going to try to get to them. Make sure you hit us with a thumbs up. This is free content, which is wild. Free content coming to you here from some of the sharpest minds in the biz. So give us a little thumbs up for that. And I'm going to start in the RotoGrinders Discord. If I get all the questions there, I'm going to jump into the YouTube chat as well. So let's see what we got. Kirkwood, I'm going to start with you in a FanDuel GPP. Razzle Dazzle says, what are your thoughts on paying down at pitcher tonight? Maybe going Maeda or Yarbrough, for instance.
I think it's really tough to go Yarbrough on FanDuel. I mean, for pitching, you can Maeda definitely. I think that's a good play because you still have upside there, especially with the matchup. I just wouldn't go. I think Yarbrough's kind of a waste on FanDuel. He's more of a DK play to me, but I like the concept. But Maeda, stop at Maeda.
Okay. Somebody asked for a weather update, and really the only update is there's a low chance of a delay or a late start in Kansas City, but not a high enough chance that you should do anything about that. So I don't really have any updates. I think the weather looks good. I know that's rare. I know usually I rant for 5-10 minutes because there's so much happening. But there's not a whole hell of a lot going on. So hopefully everything looks pretty good. Carty, this is for you. Can you please rank the San Francisco outfielders in cash?
It's definitely Jock first. Then it's probably Yastrzemski and then Conforto.
Okay. All right. This is an important question. Hard or soft shell tacos? If soft, flour or corn? Carty, you get to go first, flour v. corn, and then Kirkwood.
Yes.
Yes, that's a solid answer. Nothing wrong with that. Kirkwood, you have a preference here?
I love all of it, right? Like, so I have some of the best Mexican places around, like, and then you get the flour soft, obviously, but I'm a sucker for hard shell because I grew up on that, like eating, making them, whatever. Like even the cheap Ortega awful stuff that you can buy, you know what I mean? Like I like it all.
That crunch.
That crunch. There's the crunch there. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. The crunch. Yeah. Crunch is there. Taco Bell.
I'm fully into corn tortillas now. As long as you cook them, you just got to cook them. Sometimes you go to a taco place and they're just like raw. Then they taste terrible. But if you cook
raw corn is terrible, inexcusable. Right. But if you cook them up nice and they're soft, like corn tortillas are,
yeah, that's where it's at. Better flavor. Excellent question. Thank you for giving me something other than baseball to chat about. Let's see what else we got. Back to the baseball here. DKGPP Carty. This one's for you. 2v2. Barnhart Votto or Stevenson Mancini.
I'm not in love with either, to be honest. Tonight, Barnhart Votto, but again, don't love it.
Okay. FanDuel Cash and Kirkwood, I'm going to come to you for it. We'll just go back and forth a little. You want Jock Jams, Stanton, and Flores, or Yaz, Conforto, Torres?
Those are both good options. I'm looking at a cash build right now, and it just looks. You can make such an easy cash lineup tonight on FanDuel. Like you can put Jock, Soto, Glaber, Austin Riley, Bobby Witt. I mean, you can get crazy. So what was I like them both, but what was it? I'll make a front. What was it again?
It was Jock, Stanton, Flores, or Yaz, Conforto, Torres.
Yeah, option one.
Okay. All right. FanDuel Cash in the util card. You want Pete, your boy, big. You want Pete or you want Soto?
Which Pete is that?
It's it's Alonso. That's the one.
Alonso. Okay.
It's the one nickname I'm not sure I'm allowed to say on the show.
We should get confirmation because if that's a go, that's a fun
Big Meat Pete. Big Meat Pete. That's nothing.
I guess we are allowed to say it after all.
It is Soto though.
Okay. All right. DK Cash, Carty, Nimmo, or Belly?
Probably Belly for me.
Okay. Tom says, Kirkwood, DK Cash with Peraza having second base, third base eligibility. Do you like Albies or Riley in DK Cash?
Riley, because you save a little bit of money.
Okay. DK Alonso or Riley?
Guy eats a lot of steaks.
Riley.
Guy eats a lot of steaks. Maybe
the guy just loves. He's a carnivore. Big carnivore.
Big meat guy.
What was the question again?
I don't know. I got distracted by that too. It was DK Cash, Alonso, or Riley, Carty.
I mean, they're different positions. I think I like. I mean, they're basically the same. I guess I would probably take Riley, but I don't know what your decision actually is.
Okay. Hey, I'm jumping over to the YouTube chat. Make sure you hit us with a thumbs up. Let's take some of these QQs. We still have, oh dear God, like 11 minutes. Is Carlos Rodon in play for the Yankees tonight? Kirkwood, any Rodon? I feel like that was a yes.
I have like all the Rodon.
Okay. Excellent.
Not Anthony not Anthony Rendon. Sorry.
Right. Rodon, not Rendon. All right. On DK, same price, Kirkwood, E. Julian or Peraza?
Peraza.
Okay. Someone said flour with fish or shrimp is acceptable. I almost feel the opposite. I feel if you're going fish or shrimp, you absolutely need corn, but maybe I'm crazy. Andrew, DKGPP Carty, this is a 2v2. Verlander, Michael Harris, or Morton and Eddie Rosario?
I think I take Verlander Harris. I
thought Morton kind of was falling off this year and wasn't. Is that wrong? Am I just completely misinformed? Is he still good, Carty?
He's back. Yeah, he's old, but he's still doing fine.
He went 7 innings, 4 Ks in his last start. His curveball was looking good. He's old. He's the one guy that I will play that's older than Head Chopper. He's the exception.
All right. Yeah, he's is he 40? Am I making that up?
I think he's 39.
Okay.
But he's still good. He's still one of the top, probably, 25 or 30 pitchers in baseball. He's still really good.
Good for him. All right. DK Cash question, Carty, Jock or Bailey?
Jock.
Lone Wolf DFS says in a DK GPP, Kirkwood, do you prefer my boy Morton or somebody else's boy Verlander?
Man, let's go Morton.
Okay, very good. All right. One off. We want Stanton or Fraley in a DK GPP. I feel like everybody loves Stanton for the home run potential, but is he chalky, Carty?
Yeah, I mean he's definitely going to be higher owned than Fraley. So if you can afford to have that, I like him significantly more, but it really depends on the rest of your lineup.
Okay. Who is the chalk pitcher, Carty, for FanDuel Cash?
I think it's going to be Castillo. But I think you'll probably see a little bit on Verlander, Rodon, but Castillo, I think, is going to be the top guy.
Okay. Okay, here we go. We need more questions, folks. We still got 10 minutes. Don't make me end the show early. I hate doing that. I feel like I get in trouble, but I will do it.
Don't make me do it.
Don't make me do it. Hold me back. Don't make me go hang out with my family and eat food. Oh no, it'd be horrible.
Oh, how did that was a cute picture of the pizzas with your daughters.
Thank you.
How did they turn out?
It was hilarious. The pizzas were delicious, and they just plowed the cheese. They ate so much cheese before the pizza was made that they were full by the time the pizzas were ready. But it was pretty fun. Thanks. All right. Is this a good stolen space? Jesus. Is this a good stolen base spot for Carroll? How can I find who's good at getting stole on, etc.? Great question from J Sams. I assume we have tools for that kind of thing. Kirkwood, Carty, somebody.
I mean, I have a tool based on the bat that's not on RotoGrinders. If I'm allowed to plug it, I can say that. I don't know. Does RG have one?
I don't know. I use one from somebody else, so I can't. I shouldn't have even said that. But.
Carty, plug yours. What does it do? Tell me about it, and let's answer the question.
If you go over to evanalytics.com, it's where I have my the bats betting stuff and everything. There's a page called Stolen Base Matchup Tool on the MLB dropdown, and it gives you the matchup for everybody every day. It talks about the pitcher, the catcher, the bullpen. So we're talking about Corbin Carroll here. So that is a D grade matchup, about 31st percentile. So not a great stolen base spot.
Okay, good stuff. Tony 2 times gonna get the papers. Says the best shortstop of the slate on DK Kirkwood. Who's your shortstop on DK?
I'm gonna say Nico Horner tonight.
Wow. Okay. Not a name I expected to hear there. Michael Rudushinsky says Carty, Giants or Yankees in a Fanduel GPP?
It was Yankees or Giants.
It was, yeah.
I probably prefer Giants, but I like both of them tonight.
Okay. Forever says, hey, I got here a little late. Top 3 stacks besides the Giants. Kirkwood, you can take this. We start with Atlanta.
Yep. Cubs.
And then where do we go from there? Cubs.
We go to the Cubbies, and then I'm gonna say Yankees, but I'm so used to this busting. Just be ready for it to not work. Is what I'm gonna say.
Okay. Lone Wolf says, what are your thoughts on Darvish? You both kind of said like it's not a bad play. He just has to not blow himself up, basically.
I'd rather stack the Jays against.
Yeah, I think we're on opposite side. I think Carty, he likes the Blue Jays. I like Darvish just because he's going to get no play tonight, and he's a playable 8K, and I'm betting on talent. So,
E. Kim says, "Hey Roth, Mavs are re-signing Kyrie. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?" It's a terrible thing. They missed the freaking playoffs last year. You know how hard it is to miss the playoffs in basketball? You have to try.
He is the cancer. He is the cancer.
Exactly.
As a Celtics fan, I can say this.
Yeah. No effort, no energy, does not inspire other teammates. Luka's kind of the same way, to be honest. Hello. Yeah. Ugh, that team's in trouble, man.
Hey, a quick question. How do you think Porzingis is going to work out for us on the Celtics?
He's so good. I freaking love Porzingis. I love watching that dude play. He's going to be great if he can be healthy. But also sometimes he just jacks up like a 3-pointer, like 8 feet behind the 3-point line. And you're like, why? Like you're 7. Why? You don't need that shot. All right. Let's see. Back into the Discord here. FanDuel GPP. Carty, your thoughts on a full San Francisco stack?
I like it.
Okay. Kirkwood, would you play Stanton over Yaz or Peterson in cash?
I would.
Okay. RC player says, Carty, even though Flores is a hashtag certified lefty masher, can he bomb against a certified reverse splits guy? Good question.
Yes, he can. The lefty masher thing is nonsense. I say it because people think it's a real thing. It's not, which means he's totally fine against a guy like Ashcraft in this spot tonight. Ashcraft is a reverse splits guy, which does help him.
Yeah. Also, people in the chat saying Kyrie had nothing to do with the Mavs missing the playoffs. Yes, he did. They had a losing record with Kyrie and Luka together on the court. They had a losing record. I realized he was out and Luka was out and there were issues, but he did have he did have something to do with it because they sucked. Here we go. This is a good one from CLT Go Blue. Kirkwood, I'm struggling to find a pure punt catcher in a DK GPP. I saw a Twitter thread recently that claimed Tom Murphy has 8 barrels in his last 100 swings. I don't even know if that's good. Would playing him be stupid?
Probably. I mean, maybe I like Gabriel Moreno just a little bit better. He's 100 more. But yeah. Murphy could come through, but he gets pinch hit a lot for.
Okay. All right. Let's see what else we got here. Got about 4 minutes. Carty, this is a good one for you. Veerling pinch hit risk?
It is only 7%, which is kind of surprising because the Tigers love to pinch hit, and he's a guy who in the past has been pinch hit for. But this year, they've been more using their pinch hitters for Ibanez, Short, for other guys. So,
okay, all right, very good. Chu Ching says Abrams Suzuki. I'm going to give this one to you, Kirkwood. Abrams Suzuki or Horner Veerling?
It's pretty close, but I'll just double up in the Cubs game environment and go Abrams, Suzuki.
Okay, let's lightning around this. Kirkwood, red stack with a small Detroit stack in a DK GPP, yay or nay?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Fanduel one-off, Carty, Belly or Corbin?
Give me Belly.
Kirkwood, thoughts on a game stack of Yankees and Angels?
In theory, yes, but I like Rodon, so I'm just sticking with the Yankee side, but I get it.
Okay. DK Cash, second baseman. Also, Conforto or Yastrzemski, DK Cash, Carty. Price not an issue.
I probably prefer Yaz over Conforto, and I'd probably go Oswald Perez at second.
Okay, very good. DK GPP, my boy, I haven't seen his name forever. Eugenio Suarez. Kirkwood, you got any Eugenio Suarez?
Mean Gene, Eugene. He's been coming alive these last couple of games. Went deep multiple times. So he's cheap. Yeah, you can play him tonight.
Stephen Hodges says Carty is like, what of this NBA you speak of? Not his bag. Carty, I know you love the hot streaks. Is Edouard Julien the best player of all time?
That's going to be a no.
Almost. He's top 3. Let's see what else we got. Julian or Teoscar, Carty?
I'm really not on either one tonight, but I'd probably go Teoscar.
Okay. And Kirkwood, what are your thoughts on a Nats 5-man stack on DK?
Yeah. Why not? It's Hendricks. He's terrible. Well, kind
of. Best play on FanDuel, Kirkwood, making you work for it might be our last question. Best play on FanDuel, 2,900 or under, util.
Suzuki at 2,700.
Very good. All right. Maeda or Hendricks at SP2, Carty, for a DK GPP from Mr. Papa Giorgio.
I think I'd prefer Maeda.
Nice. See if we can get any more I can find here. Thoughts on a Nats 5-man stack on DK, Kirkwood?
Yeah, you can go. It's because it's against Hendricks.
Carty, Mets or Cubs for all the dough?
I'll take the Cubs.
Parabay says, Carty, is Buster Posey good tonight with my giant stack? Speaking of old, that guy's got to be old, right?
He retired 3 years ago.
God damn it. When I saw his name, I was like, holy hell. All right. You got me. Okay, hey, with that, we are going to bounce on out of here. Last question from DePrince. Your favorite FanDuel stack to take it all? Kirkwood, your favorite FanDuel stack to win it all?
The Cubs.
Aside says, Carty, who gets the dreaded first pinch hit for the Giants today? Jams, Conforto, or Yaz?
It's probably Yaz, but it's tough to know.
Okay. And then RC player says, Carty, when do we get the blitz? The people are clamoring for the blitz, Carty.
Oh yeah. I've been working on it a lot lately. Pre-sales probably go on sale, I would think, within a couple of weeks. Season-long projection should be ready pretty soon too, which will be cool. So keep an eye out.
Okay, very good. Excited for it. We are excited to bounce on out of here. So for Carty, for Kirkwood, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes. Guys, we appreciate you. We love you. And we will catch you tomorrow. You have been crunched.